With the 6th overall pick, the Las Vegas Raiders are in a good position when it comes to the NFL draft. The Raiders are going to be in a position to select some talented players on the board without having to trade up any draft capital. And at 6, there are a lot of different options of players that they could go with. But today we are going to focus on Heisman Trophy runner-up and who many people think got robbed of the Heisman Trophy award. But today we're talking about Boise State running back Ashton Jeanty, and a lot of people have been speculating that the Raiders are going to select him at number 6. NFL Network's lead draft analyst Jeremiah Daniel posted a mock draft where he has the Las Vegas Raiders selecting Ashton Jeanty at the 6th overall position. Now, Ashton Jeanty is seen by most as the best running back in a very strong draft class this offseason, and he could potentially fit the ideology of a Pete Carroll-led football team, reminiscent of those strong Seattle Seahawks teams that were led with Marshawn Lynch running the football. Now, Ashton Jeanty is coming off of a phenomenal college football season where he rushed for over 2,600 rushing yards, had 29 rushing touchdowns, 30 total touchdowns, and over 2,700 all-purpose yards. Jeanty led the NCAA in rushing yards and was second in rushing touchdowns, and he fell just 27 yards short of Barry Sanders' single-season FBS rushing record of 2,628 yards. So needless to say, he had himself a dominant season. He is 5'8", 210 pounds, not the biggest guy, really not the fastest guy, but really when you watch him play, the name of his game is just broken tackles. This guy is a machine when it comes to making guys miss, breaking tackles, bouncing off of guys, and he's a hard guy to bring down. He just has a natural instinct when it comes to this, and to me, it's really what separates him as the best running back in this draft class. He has elite contact balance, and many times you can see him bouncing off tacklers like it's nothing. He has good vision and instincts as a runner of the football, and he can also take a run to the house at any given moment, and he can also be used as a catcher out the backfield. And honestly, I think he was underused in these situations, but I don't see that being an issue for him, and I would not be shocked if he continues to develop that and get even better at that at the next level, adding another element to his offensive arsenal. But Ashton Jeanty was able to carry a Boise State team to the college football playoffs, ranking top 4. And for a school like that, that is no small feature. He had himself a phenomenal season. But the biggest question is whether or not the Raiders should select him at 6. And now, one of the biggest pushbacks that people will mention on why the Raiders should not draft Ashton Jeanty at number 6 is the fact that they argue that drafting a running back that high would not be great value, just considering the loaded draft class we have with the running backs this season. And look, I definitely understand that take. This draft class is definitely loaded with a lot of good backs, a lot of talented guys out there. So you can most definitely get yourself a good running back in the later rounds. So I definitely understand that argument, but I still don't think that alone should be enough to make up our mind on whether or not we should take Ashton Jeanty. I mean, personally, I think the Raiders, regardless, they should draft 2 running backs. You can go about that a couple different ways. You can get a running back early like Jeanty. Maybe you get one later in the draft. Or you can get both of them like in the middle rounds. A couple different ways you can go about that. But to me, the biggest question mark we have to ask ourselves on whether or not we think we should draft Ashton Jeanty is whether or not do we think he could be a potential generational type of running back? Do we think he could be one of the best running backs in the league? So in order to do that, you're going to have to watch the film, analyze for yourself. But personally, I think if you have that feeling about him, then to me, I definitely think you should take him at 6. No questions asked. It fits the mold, the best player available. The Raiders already drafted a generational type of player in Brock Bowers last season. So if they could do that again with a guy like Jeanty at the running back spot, this offense is going to be loaded with weapons for years to come. And really the best friend of any quarterback is having a good running game, having a good running back, also too having a good tight end that could be a nice safety blanket for a quarterback. But when it comes to Jeanty, if you don't think he's the best running back in the class, if you don't think he's going to be that great of a running back, then yeah, you definitely pass on him at 6. You select somebody else. You draft the running back later in the draft. But another thing to consider as well is the Raiders' current offensive line situation. I mean, personally, I do think we need to improve the offensive line. We still need some more help. But I also don't think this offensive line is as bad as some people make it out to be. I mean, last season, the offensive line was terrible under offensive coordinator Luke Getsy, especially early on in the season. But after he left, I felt like the offensive line started to get better. We do have some good young pieces to work with. We have a good young center in Jackson Powers-Johnson, a solid, dependable left tackle in Colton Miller. I like what I saw from DJ Glaze at the right tackle position. But where I do think we need some help is at the guard position. Also, another thing to keep into consideration is our offensive coordinator. To me, Chip Kelly is an elite offensive-minded guy. And if there's one thing that he has been consistent with throughout his whole career is he has always had a good, reliable running game. I think the scheme alone will be a big part of the Raiders having a better run game moving forward. And I am confident in Chip Kelly getting the ground game going. A lot of the issues I saw with the Raiders offensive line last season, especially early on in the season, was just due to like miscommunications or guys just missing assignments. Just those little things alone, it seemed like a lot of times the offensive line were not on the same page. And I think those little things will get cleaned up under Chip Kelly, and that should make a difference. But even if you aren't super confident in the Raiders offensive line going into 2025, the one thing I will say about Ashton Jeanty is he's the type of running back that will make your offensive line look better than what they really are. And that is just due to his ability to make tacklers miss. He reminds me a little bit of Josh Jacobs in that sense. If we remember, Josh Jacobs was always good into making people miss. He would turn plays that should be 1-2 yard losses into 5-yard gains, little things like that. He was so good in terms of yards after contact, and he was not an easy guy to bring down. And I see all those same type of traits from Ashton Jeanty. And that is something to keep into consideration because not all running backs in this class can do that. Not all of them have that special gift that this guy has when it comes to making people miss. And that's what I absolutely love about his game. Now, overall, this is a tough question to ask. I understand the Raiders do have a lot of holes. Running back is definitely a need though. He does fit the bill of best player available. But just going with my gut feeling with Ashton Jeanty, I do see the upside of him potentially being like a superstar running back. And honestly, if the Raiders drafted him, I would not be mad at it. I mean, look, usually I am the type of guy that undervalues the running back position. I understand you can always get good backs later in the draft. I like to prioritize building the offensive line first before going all out on a running back. And I usually advocate on not paying running backs when it comes to free agency, paying them big money, that sort of thing. I usually am pretty cautious of drafting a running back too high, but to me, I'm not gonna lie, this kid looks special to me, and I can definitely see why some people want Ashton Jeanty to land here. Now, personally, I think we're gonna go defense in the first round. That's my prediction. But if we were to draft an offensive player in the first round that is not a quarterback, I would choose Ashton Jeanty. I would choose him over Teteroa, McMillan. Some of y'all may flame me in the comment section for that, but to me, I see a potential of being a generational running back with Jeanty. I don't really see that with McMillan. I also don't think this wide receiver class is that strong. Don't get me wrong, I think he's a good player still, McMillan, but I don't necessarily see him being a bona fide superstar wide receiver 1 like a lot of people are projecting for him. Now, in an ideal world, maybe the Raiders find a way to trade back a little bit in the draft. Maybe they can go like 10, 11, something like that. And if Jeanty falls, then like I said, in a perfect world, that would be an awesome situation. But even then, I'm not 100% sure he would fall to us. I'm not going to be shocked if he's a top 10 pick. I do not think drafting him at 6 would be a reach at all. And I would be lying to you guys if I said I would not be excited if we drafted Ashton Jeanty come draft night. But Raider Nation, I definitely want to get your guys' feedback in the comment sections down below. What do you guys think of Ashton Jeanty? Do you think the Raiders should select him at 6? Let me know in that comment section down below. But with that being said, Raider Nation, that is all for you guys in today's video. Anybody that is new to the channel, you guys love Raider related content just like this, make sure to like, comment, subscribe to the channel. That being said, I will see you guys in the next one.